can't stop hitting trainers or officials and get kicked out of games. So see what happens on that front.
Still pretty good, though.
He's still pretty good. I got a texture that says the Titans are in a spot to set themselves up for success or royally drop the ball with the wrong choice. It kind of seems like a can't-miss season with the new stadium on the horizon. Lots to talk about the new stadium, Joe, coming up for the Titans. We had a texter ask us earlier, like, what's our theory on the Titans being the having the least amount of payroll in the league, not our Jared Stillman theory, but our actual theory. Like, what do you make of all the conversation right now around the new stadium, the money the Titans have not really been spending to this point? What do you make of all that conversation?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I understand making the connection. Okay, I do. I also not surprised. Like Jared would push that hard because he's pinned himself in the corner where like the cap can't be the reason. But I think it's absurd to think that like the Titans are going to be penny pinching this offseason because of the stadium. Look, when everything goes through, Amy Adams Strunk stands to make a lot of money from all this. Okay, I mean that's what happens when you're a billionaire. Typically, you have something like this. It ends up making you more money, and this will. So the big picture of this is like the idea of like, yeah, you have to spend a couple. This isn't, we go back to like David Poyle as GM, right? Like you know this well. Like there were some years there where like he couldn't go to the cap.
Oh yeah.
And I understand it's a different cap. I do. I understand it's a different cap. But yeah, I really don't think that these two things are related. I think conflating them is inaccurate.
Joe, I was looking yesterday at the odds on FanDuel Sportsbook about who's going to be the number one overall pick. They got C.J. Stroud at -220, the heavy favorite over Bryce Young to be the number one overall pick for the Carolina Panthers. What do you make of that?
Well, that seems to be the momentum. Now, sometimes a team throws people off the scent and they switch up on you at the last minute. So keeping an open mind on it. I think there's probably quite a few teams. I'd love to know if you went through all 32 teams. I would bet that almost all of them have those two as your top two. Now, some maybe not, but I bet you most of them do. And I'm sure there are some teams out there that, because of the size thing, are just like, I just trust Stroud more. So yeah, I'm not shocked by that. But you know what? Good for whoever gets Bryce Young. He's going to be the better player.
I mean, if he's number two, that would be Houston. So there he'd be right there in the AFC South.
Oh, yeah. I told the Titans to go up there and get their guy, but, whatever. They don't want to listen to me. By the way, Dane Brugler's latest mock has Nolan Smith going 10
right
to
before
the Eagles. Yes. So, so I think he's going to be right in that range. Possibly available, possibly not.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Grant Ramey from VolQuest.com and On3 Sports. We'll get his thoughts on the Tennessee Volunteers as they prepare for their Sweet 16 matchup against FAU. That's coming up next. Let me tell you about my friends at the Nashville Predators. 23-24 season tickets are on sale now, and the Preds will be celebrating their 25th anniversary throughout next season. Full, half, and quarter season plans are available, and you can join the Loyal Legion today and receive the best seat locations at the best pricing, up to 50% off discounts on concessions throughout the season as well, and up to 6 bonus tickets to select games in the 2023-24 season as well. Plus, big times coming up this summer. Priority access to the 2023 NHL Draft and awards hosted here in Nashville, and exclusive season ticket citizen gifts throughout the season as well. You can learn more at NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. Once again, that's NashvillePredators.com/season tickets.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people pick them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, But those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
And now a special motorcycle weather report from Progressive.
Well, today you can expect lots of cloud cover with 0% chance of raining on your parade because you'll be riding your motorcycle vroom vroom. That rumbling low-pressure system beneath you should give way to a relaxing commute and a sudden urge to take the scenic route everywhere you go because, dagnabbit, you're having fun out there. That's your forecast. Back to you.
This has been a special motorcycle weather report from Progressive, where every day's a beautiful day to ride with coverage from America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Get a quote today and see what you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezvik. The Tennessee Titans announced their roster additions on Monday. Aziz Al-Shaair, Daniel Brunskill, Andre Dillard, Luke Gifford, and Arden Key. Arden Key said he's looking forward to being a Titan.
The camaraderie with the teammates, with my teammates, and then get into a quarterback. I love hitting quarterbacks. I love disrupting the game. Even if I'm not hitting the quarterback, if I'm in the quarterback face and my guy get a pick, that gets me going. But most of all, it's the team. It's being around those guys each and every day, going out and working and having fun, whether it's on the football field or not on the football field. It's just being with that team and that camaraderie, you can't beat it.
Memphis Grizzlies defeated the Dallas Mavericks 112-108 without Ja Morant on Monday night. The Grizzlies are sitting at second in the Western Conference as they finish out the regular season. The quarterfinals for the NIT are in Memorial tomorrow. Vanderbilt will face UAB, tip-off at 6. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5-106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezvik here with you on this Tuesday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. The Vols in action in the Sweet 16 coming up later this week. And to help us talk more about that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in Grant Ramey from VolQuest.com on 3 Sports. Grant, good morning. Thanks for taking time to join us. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great, guys. How are y'all this morning?
We're awesome. Appreciate you taking time to being with us. So, Grant, what did you make of Tennessee taking down Duke to advance to the Sweet 16, the game plan from Rick Barnes, and what this win means for this program as they advance to the Sweet 16?
I mean, the takeaway from the game, I thought it was the best 40 minutes of basketball this team has played in I don't know how long, a long, long time. Just start to finish, didn't go through too many scoring droughts, didn't give up too many big runs. It just seemed like they were more locked in Saturday against Duke than we've seen them in I don't know how long. I thought the game plan was good. Just, the physicality early. I don't think Rick started Urosh to get those 2 fouls, but he did start him to play that physical brand of basketball that they have to play. They're going to slow you down. If they're going to have success defensively, they slow you down, and they just harass you for 40 minutes. So starting Urosh, I thought was a good game plan there. And then whoever drew up the game plan for Olivier to go off and look like an NBA draft pick, I think you got to do that again as many times as you can, because we've seen him look like that a couple times against Texas now and against Duke. We don't see it too often, but when he plays like that, it's a really good basketball team, and it means a ton for this basketball program to get back to the Sweet 16. They had some problems in the second round with those double-digit seeds in the past. Then they get a blue blood in Duke, a team that hadn't lost in a while. It was red hot, and everybody's picking them. So for this group to struggle like it did in February, and now to get to a Sweet 16 at Madison Square Garden, it's a huge step forward for the program.
Who'd you pick? Did you pick Tennessee?
I don't make a game pick, actually. I would not have, if you're talking about Duke, I don't think I would have picked Tennessee to win that game just based on what we had seen. Thursday night against Louisiana, they didn't look great. Kind of let Louisiana get back in that game. Duke rolled over Oral Roberts. That game it was 15-0 to start, and it wasn't a contest from there. Just the way Duke was playing, the way we've seen Tennessee play the last few weeks, no, I would not have picked Tennessee to win that game.
That's too bad, because I did, but I mean, I don't want to brag or anything like that. But it's also like the only thing I've gotten right this entire tournament, so I should probably shut up. But Grant, I do want to go lean in on that physicality a little bit. I noticed that somebody asked Rick about the Australian rugby quote from the FAU coach. Are you as perplexed? The word, are you as confused as I am about the narrative coming out of this? Like all of a sudden the Vols are the bad boys. It's Mahorn and Lambier out there. I mean, I understand that Uros gave a hip check, and I understand Filipowski got cut, and I don't think Adu meant to do that at all. But are you a little bit surprised, confused by this whole thing?
I'm surprised because what we saw Saturday is the team that Tennessee's tried to be all year. For multiple years now. They've tried to be a physical, aggressive, harass you brand of defense. Like they're going to pick you up at half court, and they're going to stay on you in the back court, and they're going to try to push and shove around and do whatever they can do to get away with in the post, because it's a pretty big, strong team, and physical brand of basketball is what they want to do, how they want to play, and it's the way they've been playing since November, since October, since whenever we first saw this team. I don't understand why it's a storyline now. Like, I don't know why you beat Duke in the tournament and suddenly you got Jay Billis calling it a hockey game and it's poorly officiated and, all this stuff. It is what it's been since the fall. We've seen this team all year do this. Jay Billis has seen this team multiple times. He's been on the broadcast. I don't know why people suddenly think Tennessee's a dirty team or overly physical team, or I don't know. There's different ways to play basketball. Tennessee's way of playing basketball is physical, aggressive on the defensive end, and try to hold you under 60 points. And they're going to do whatever they have to do. And they're not trying to foul. Obviously, that fouls has been a huge problem for this team because it sends other teams to the foul line. So they're trying to foul, but they're also trying to play physical without fouling. What I don't understand is what you all of a sudden. Why is this such a talking point?
Grant Ramey with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Grant, what do you make of the way the bracket has kind of opened up here with Purdue going down? Obviously, Tennessee, you got to take care of business against FAU coming up, and then you got Michigan State and Kansas State. What do you make of the path that all of a sudden is in front of the Vols here?
I was looking at some odds last night, and Tennessee is actually the East Regional favorite at this point to go to the Final Four to win this thing. I think that's a dangerous spot for Tennessee to be in because I think what helped them the most against Duke was that nobody was talking about them and nobody was picking them, and they were the underdog, and nobody gave them a chance. And they came out with a certain intensity and a certain edge that they're going to have to bring against Florida Atlantic. Now it's going to be flip-flops, and everybody's going to be talking about Tennessee, and nobody's going to be talking about FAU. And FAU's won 33 games. They're a really good basketball team. I don't think you win 33 games without good reason. A ton of guard play on this team, a ton of scoring depth. They shoot a ton of threes. So for them to beat Memphis and then to do what they did against Fairleigh Dickinson, Tennessee's going to be the favorite. They're going to be the ones that are talked about. But they better take care of business. They better have that same intensity, that same edge that they had against Duke, and keep that kind of underdog mentality or chip on the shoulder or whatever it is to advance out of here. And then if you can get back to the Elite Eight, obviously just be the second time in program history. If you can get there, then just see what happens at that point.
Yeah, if there was one guy, because I'm obviously, like you said, Grant, Kamwa was unbelievable. Duke goes to the zone. He kind of steps in there and says, okay, I'll take some wide open shots. And then all of a sudden he can't miss. If there's one guy offensively, you would say, if this guy can get going and play at his peak this weekend, it would make the difference for the Vols. Who would that be? If you were Rick Barnes, you could choose someone to have their best offensive weekend. Who would it be?
I would probably go Jordan James. He hasn't done a ton in recent games. He didn't shoot it well against Duke, but he also had 7 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. So he affected the game in a really big way. But you go back to the SEC tournament, the way he shot it the first night against Ole Miss, I think he scored 20 or something like that. That's the Josiah that we've seen in the past from time to time. We haven't seen it consistently a ton. But if he gets back to that, and he's scoring it and he's shooting it well, I think that's a huge difference for this team, because you probably know what you're going to get from Santi. Santiago Vescovi's going to give you probably 10, 12, 14, whatever it is, and some assists and some rebounds. Olivier Kamwa, you're not going to get 27 out of him every night, but you got to get something. You got to get 10 and 5 or 12 and 7 or whatever you can get out of him. But if Josiah's the guy that's hitting shots early and scoring a ton and playing confident and leading this team.
Grant Ramey with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Grant, you brought up the mentality, and Joe and I talked about that yesterday, of just the position that they were in against Duke. How, I guess, can you keep that going, even though, like you said, the situation is going to change and everybody's going to be picking Tennessee to win this game? Like, internally, can they keep that chip on their shoulder going, do you think, as they move forward here?
I think so, because I think it's going to be talked about nonstop internally inside the locker room within this team, within this program, that it's just about them against everybody else. I think it's been a kind of a us against the world mentality since this season kind of started going off the rails a little bit in early February, and this team was struggling a little bit because there's a lot of people that turned on them. There's a lot of people that said they're not a very good basketball team. They're just kind of average. It is what it is. They, maybe they feasted on a bad non-conference schedule and this and that and the other. And, they've dealt with injuries and they went through the struggle and, they survived back-to-back buzzer beaters against Missouri and Vanderbilt in February. Like, there were some pretty tough times for this basketball team. So I think from that point on, they kind of went with a us against the world mentality. And I think they'll be able to keep that because that's what's got them here. And, the way the tournament's set up, you're home for 24, 48 hours, then you're back on the road again. So I think for this team to get back on the road, get back to New York, just be amongst themselves and kind of get back in that tournament routine. They're going to hear about it nonstop to keep that same mentality, that same underdog edge. I would assume they'll be able to keep it.
Among all that complaining, and I think any of us in media in this state have seen, a lot of it. And look, I've had my doubts about this team too, but how much of that, Grant, this season has been directed toward Rick Barnes from your vantage point? Because I feel like maybe more than it has been in recent years.
Yeah, I think there's a certain newness that's kind of worn off this basketball program because that 17-18 team and the 18-19 team, the 17-18 team felt like a bunch of underdogs, upstarts, kind of ahead of schedule in terms of rebuilding the program under Rick. The 18-19 team was, a lot of those same guys. They were just a really, really good basketball team, ranked number 1 for a while, and they've won a ton of games in the regular season. They've made noise in the SEC tournament. They won the thing last year for the first time since '79. So they've done a ton of under Rick during the Rick Barnes era at Tennessee. The problem has just been, getting tripped up by Loyola Chicago or a Michigan last year, or not being able to get by Purdue in the Sweet 16 as a number 2 seed in 2019. So I think it was this team went all the way up to number 2 in the polls after that win over Texas in January. People were kind of feeling like this is going to be another elite basketball team. Then it started to drop off, and when it dropped off, it felt like, a lot of that turned on Rick. And I think that's why this Sweet 16 appearance and, see what happens Thursday night if they can go farther. But for them to kind of make this run now, I think it's a huge step forward. And if Rick can get them to an Elite Eight for just the second time in program history, I think it's going to be hard to, have many complaints about what he's done with the program, the consistent rate he's won at, and now what he's done, taking them back to this point in March.
Well, Grant, great stuff. Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning. Looking forward to seeing what Tennessee's able to do this week, and we'll talk to you soon.
See you, boys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Grant Ramey with us here on Robby and Rexrode from VolQuest.com and on 3 Sports. We'll take your thoughts, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. We'll get into the Vols, their matchup against FAU, and we'll also get to some very interesting comments from Nick Saban yesterday as well. All that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every Wednesday at 8:30. Join Robby and Rexrode for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The Choice is Yours. Wednesdays at 8:30 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The Choice is Yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to JarrettFire.com. JARRETT Fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
It's the Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair. This week only, save up to 50% in every department, including all 4K TVs, appliances, laptops and tablets, speakers, and more. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The Famous Half Price Fair. It's first come, first served. Sale ends Saturday at 9 p.m. Hurry into any of our convenient locations. Plus, get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair ends this Saturday at 9 p.m.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
If you've experienced a concussion, the injury can result in temporary chemical changes inside the brain that can cause it to function improperly. The signs and symptoms may occur immediately or take several days to appear. The experienced doctors at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can diagnose your concussion and get you feeling back to normal with therapy and rehabilitative exercises. If you experience head injury signs such as headache, dizziness, nausea, sensitivity, ringing in ears, or problems with memory, balance, vision, or concentration, visit tn.houston.com to learn more and to book an appointment. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Anyone want to tell me what happened? Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
You're listening listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Preds fans, don't miss tomorrow night's Smashville Live at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs starting at 6 o'clock. You can see your Preds star players up close and personal, plus have your chance to get autographs and pictures as well. Player guests tomorrow, Alexander Carrier and Jeremy Lozon. Smashville Live brought to you by Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, Little Harpeth Beer, Superbook Sports, and Dulce Vita Tequila, pure and simple. Welcome back in. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 102.5 The Game studio. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Thanks to Grant Ramey for being with us in the last segment. LD from McMinnville on the text line says, it's obvious to me why the Vols are being portrayed as overly physical or even on the edge of dirty. It's because they bullied and beat Duke. Most pundits were in the same boat as Jared. Nate on the text line says, I love how the national media is whining about the Vols being physical. Apparently playing defense is playing dirty now. That's from Nate and LD on the text line. We have an extended mute from Joe Rexrode. Yeah, I think the Duke part of this, I have wondered, like what when you beat Duke, and we've talked about like the Jay Billis part of this, like anytime you beat Duke, especially in the fashion that they did, I do think that that's part of the narrative that's getting spun. Now, it's one thing for the media to do it. It's another thing. We talked about this yesterday, Joe. The FAU coach wasting no time after the game or immediately talking about having to get ready to play some Australian rules football against Tennessee coming up. So that was interesting to see the coach doing that immediately.
Yeah, sorry, this has me so flustered I couldn't find Zoom. Yeah, look, it's funny because I actually wrote about this at theathletic.com today.
Oh, boy.
But kind of about both teams, because it's funny because I feel like they both kind of do the same things, and they both kind of have old school coaches. I'm talking about Tennessee men's and women's basketball. And last night, Tennessee was very physical with Toledo, also taller and more athletic and just way better, but not one time. So I'm sitting there press row in Orlando, and yes, Plavsic had a hip check, and then Filipowski flopped on the other one. Okay, so he got 2 fouls, and Adu, Vescovi cleared and hit his buddy Proctor in the face with the ball. And Adu had an inadvertent elbow. I mean, if you watch the replay of him grabbing that rebound, he grabbed the rebound. He got those pointy elbows, and he didn't swing it. That's why he didn't get a flagrant on the call. I think it's absolutely partially Duke. I'll give Vingan credit. I was ready for Vingan to whine about this, and he was like, "No, I mean it's I think most people reasonably can look at that and just say, basically just Tennessee was more physical, but not more physical to the point. I think part of it too is actually Tennessee created a little bit with the whole bring them into the mud, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they said, and it's a great motto, and of course we're all going to gobble it up in media and write about it and talk about it. But that also opens the door. Bring him in the mud, huh? It wasn't a wrestling match. It was great defense. It was like no one getting past anybody else, switching ball screens and making them take tough contested shots. I mean, it's silly, but you know what? I don't blame FAU for trying to influence the refs right away. If I'm FAU, I'm going to flop all over the place and try to get charges and try to get over the backs and try to compensate for the difference in size and strength that the Tennessee has, the edge Tennessee has in this game.
Joe, you're big into the psychology of sports, and we've talked about this numerous different times in terms of how that influences the way you view a matchup and the way you view a game. And we knew psychologically Tennessee-Duke, I mean, they did exactly what you thought they should do, which is play with the chip on their shoulder and use the fact that nobody was picking them really at all other than you to their advantage on Saturday against Duke and Michelle as well. So now, obviously, that's going to change. A lot of people are going to pick Tennessee to beat FAU, and I think if they're able to do that, a lot of people will pick them to beat the winner of Michigan State or Kansas State as well. So how do you view the way that changes the dynamic here with this Tennessee team? Do you think it does change the dynamic with this Tennessee team? What do you make of kind of the different levels of psychology going from one game where almost nobody's picking you to the next where almost everybody's picking you coming up against the FAU.
Yeah, well, it's true. Without question, they're not going to have the benefit of what they had going to the Duke game, until maybe they get to the Final Four. So it was one of those things where, and again, I've just seen it so many times. That's part of why I picked it. I've just seen it so many times where it's like one team looks like they're really rolling, and this other team's like, I don't know. But if you look at the body of work of both of them, Tennessee was better than Duke this year. For a lot of the year, you would have said there's a huge gap between those two, right? But it's the brand name and everything. So great. It fit. I thought it was perfect for them, and they did. They played like it. I do think that when it comes to the psychology of this team, just getting here should unburden them some, right? Like the pressure should be a little bit less intense than it was to just get out of the first weekend. It's been so long since Tennessee's gotten out of the first weekend. I mean, you had to go back to 2019. So that's, to me, one is like, they don't have you worry about the consequences also of losing to a team you're supposed to beat, and the consequence of losing to Louisiana, the consequence of losing to Michigan last year. That's I think in this tournament more than anything can just be overwhelming to a team. There's no other way to describe or explain how Purdue lost to freaking Fairleigh Dickinson, man.
I feel like they have more pressure now, Joe.
No, I disagree. No, I totally disagree with that. I mean, look, they made the second weekend. So right now this season has been a good season. Like they are not going to, just like Grant Ramey was saying, these guys love Rick Barnes. And if they had not gotten out of the first weekend, the screaming about Rick Barnes would be loud. Getting here, beating Duke, having that performance, you've taken a lot of the Rick Barnes angst out of this, right? Now, look, if they lose to FAU, as people are going to say, well, see, this team should have beat them. I mean, there's pressure on them, but getting to the second weekend of this tournament does a lot for a team. It really does. And I think especially this program, because it had been so long. So I'm not saying there's no pressure, but you lose in a good game to FAU, it's not like the end of the world. It's not complete devastation. That said, look, you also don't get many opportunities like this. This is a golden opportunity. There's none of those three teams, but Tennessee at its best should beat any of these three teams. So, you still have to have the same focus and edge and all that. And what happens sometimes is teams start playing better basketball, and that's also part of psychology, is just confidence, So that's what they're going to have. But I do think that the worry about the consequence of losing, which is a bigger thing with this team because of Rick Barnes and his history, I think that has been diminished some.
Joe, some interesting comments yesterday from Nick Saban. Freshman defensive back Tony Mitchell is facing a possession of marijuana charge down in Tuscaloosa, and apparently, according to police report, evaded police at 141 miles per hour. So obviously that is a very serious situation, and Nick Saban addressed that yesterday, and his comments are making the rounds all over the place on social media about maybe him taking a shot at Alabama basketball coach Nate Oates. Here's what Nick Saban had to say yesterday.
Tony Mitchell has been suspended from the team and all team activities until we gather more information about the situation and what his legal circumstance is. And, guys, everybody's got an opportunity to make choices and decisions. There's no such thing in being at the wrong place at the wrong time. You got to be responsible for who you're with, who you're around, and what you do, who you associate yourself with, and the situations that you put yourself in. So it is what it is, but there is, cause and effect when you make, choices and decisions that put you in bad situations.
So that was Nick Saban yesterday, and obviously the no such thing as the wrong place at the wrong time, and you're got to make choices and decisions to who you put yourself around. A lot of people around the SEC and on social media viewing those comments from Nick Saban as a shot at Nate Oates, Alabama basketball coach. What do you think about all that?
I mean, the wording is pretty,
it's pretty interesting.
I guess it could be a Freudian slip, but gosh, it sure seems like it, right? It sounds to me like Nick Saban didn't approve of the way Nate Oates handled that whole thing, which, by the way, he shouldn't have approved of because it was ridiculous. like Nate Oates has kind of, has talked a lot since then and has tried to fix it. He talked to Kyle Tucker a lot about it and all that stuff. And I mean, a lot of it makes sense, but the initial handling of it was awful. So I'm sure that Nick Saban saw that first press conference with Nate Oates, was like, dude, what are you doing? And who knows? Maybe he just doesn't like Nate Oates. I don't know.
But I did say that there's no such thing as being in the wrong place at the wrong time was interesting comment. A lot of people running with that one yesterday from Nick Saban. Coming up next, we'll get back into the NFL. Who has won free agency, quote unquote, thus far in the NFL? We'll get into that coming up next. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robbie. Listen, we got college basketball coming back this weekend. We had to go a couple days without it, but the men's tournament will kick off again on Thursday. So make 2023 the year when you beat Vegas. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every single week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. 2 games I'm looking at up in Madison Square Garden. We've got Kansas State and Michigan State. This one's going to be a pick 'em. I'm going to pick Kansas State, going to give them a little bit of the edge. Then we got the Tennessee Volunteers and FAU. Tennessee's a 5.5 point favorite. I'm going to take FAU plus the 5.5. I think Tennessee wins on the money line, though. And one of the reasons why I love Superbook Sports is because they don't have any fancy computer algorithms. No guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Leads now, Sissons coming on from the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
Men, this is Evan Bass with the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and I've been helping men with sexual health issues for many years. I've seen the pain and anxiety that men walk into the clinic with when erectile dysfunction is affecting them. And I also know the heartache and difficulty it can bring to their partner. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've been successfully treating men for ED for many years now. We've seen the amazing impacts that those treatments have on a man's confidence and positivity. And we've seen the wonderful things those treatments also do for a man's relationship. That's why I'm pleased to announce that we are now offering the same great services we offer at our Nashville clinic at our new location in Franklin, which will make it much more convenient for those men living south of Nashville to get treated. So call us today and book your appointment at our Midtown location or at our new clinic in Cool Springs. Your first visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. Call 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatment, sex, drug results vary.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robby and Rexrode 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Philip Forsberg. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Are your brackets busted? Sign up and play the official 16-team game bracket challenge brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and the Bluffs at Rocky Ridge. Enjoy the biggest and best views in the Nashville area from your dream acreage home site. Call now at 866-GET-LAND. You can go to theGameNashville.com/bracket challenge or the Game Nashville app and pick your teams for a chance to win tickets to see Luke Combs at Nissan Stadium coming up on Saturday, April 15th. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text line, 615-737-1025, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. So there's always the question as the offseason goes on in the NFL, Joe Rexrode, who has won the offseason? And it was interesting, like Vrabel talked about that at the Combine, talking about winning the offseason, and said, pretty sure the Kansas City Chiefs didn't win the offseason last year, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. So I don't think a lot of coaches have too much time for winning the offseason. But it has been an interesting offseason to this point in free agency with the draft still to come. Lots of moves made. Typically, we look at the quarterback position, Derek Carr going to the Saints, Jimmy Garoppolo going to the Raiders, still waiting on the Aaron Rodgers trade from Green Bay to New York to officially go through. But it looks like that's going to happen. So some quarterback movement that's taking place this offseason. But the Bears have been very busy with the money that they've spent. The Detroit Lions have been very busy. They've signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, David Montgomery, Cameron Sutton, Emmanuel Mosley, Graham Gaslow, and they've got 2 picks in the first round and 2 picks in the second round coming up in the draft. So what a time to be a Detroit Lions fan right now. The Giants have re-signed Daniel Jones. There's a lot that's happened. So as you look around the league, who are some of your winners of the NFL offseason or NFL free agency through this point? We've talked about the Dolphins with Jalen Ramsey coming over. How do you view the way that the NFL free agency period has gone to this point?
You know what? You just hit on the team that I like the most. If there's such a huge if with this team, but I mean, especially if we can count like coaching ads, like Vic Fangio with the ads on defense for what was already a very good defense. Look, man, I'm a David Long Jr. David Long Jr. is going to be my new, I guess, Jonnu Smith. Now, hopefully for David Long Jr.'s sake, I'm more right about this. I just feel like that's going to be a tremendous ad for the next team. I thought Jonnu Smith in New England was going to be big. Didn't work out, but I think David Long Jr. is going to be great in that defense. Jalen Ramsey's still a high-level player, and I feel like I almost feel like it's like Jalen Ramsey is almost like Peter Laviolette, like. You need a fresh scenery every couple of years, right? But at first it's really good, and then eventually it's like, okay, all right, that's enough now. But yeah, I could see him being like really motivated and really good for the Dolphins this year. So I would start there. The Bear, and you're right. I mean, the Lions it's almost like the Bears and Lions are looking at the Packers and saying, hey, they might suck.
They send some blood in the water for sure.
I think so. A little blood in the water. I just like with the Bears. I mean, they've done a lot, man. They have spent some serious money. I like it. I think certainly like they are. I certainly like the deal to bring DJ Moore in. Now I know that's not technically a free agency sign, but it's during this period. I'd have to put them up there just because of that. Now you have a veteran receiver. I don't know, 4 years, $72 million for Tremaine Edmonds. They're throwing money around like at linebacker and everything. It's interesting. I don't know if it's all going to work out for him, but I would go there. Look, man, I do like the Lions. What the Lions have done. I do too. I'm going to continue to make fun of them. Okay, I promise that I will not let everybody down. I will continue to make fun of the Lions, and the Lions will, just because it's in their DNA. They will screw it up. But I have to look at the moves on paper and say, yeah, they've done some good things. They have a chance to have a pretty decent roster.
I'm not kidding you. I think the Lions are my winner to this point. Like I really like what they've done. And look, they've got a good offensive line to begin with, and then you add a guard there that can be pretty good. You've got a defensive front that they feel really good about. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson coming over, I think, is a big deal. I like Cam Sutton. First off, good for Cam Sutton for making the money that he made, former Tennessee Vol there. But, Emmanuel Mosley coming in there, I like what Detroit has done. And I was looking yesterday on FanDuel. Every now and then at the offseason, I like to just kind of look around and see what the odds are saying. Take a guess at who the favorite as we sit here today is for Coach of the Year in the NFL. It's our guy, Dan Campbell.
It's Mr. Coffee? No
yes.
Kidding.
He's the favorite for Coach of the Year.
See, so that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think people, first of all, can look at the Packers, can look at the division, and look at the Lions' trajectory. But the thing is, they're actually going to have expectations, which is why he's not – you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Coach of the Year is going to be – who do we think is going to suck next year? That's who Coach of the Year is going to be, right? Like, the Lions actually are not expected to suck next year, so he's not going to win it. But so I understand, like, I get the mindset now, but, like, they are going to have expectations. And let me promise you something. They are not going to live up to the expectations, okay? I mean, I like Dan. I like Dan Campbell. I like some of their players and all that stuff. Like, they just need to move the franchise back to, like, Portsmouth, Ohio, where they started. I think they were the Portsmouth Spartans in, like, 1921. They need to just try that.
A team that will not yield.
The return to Portsmouth.
Yes.
Joe on the text line says, I think Matt LaFleur will be fired after this year with no Rodgers. From your lips to God's ears.
Man, such a hater. No, I mean, that is I think I would say, I would have to think that's a significant. That is kind of mean. That's kind of mean. That was kind of Jared-like of you.
It was.
But I must think that's actually not the craziest idea. I mean, he's, like, now I'll ask you this though. Let's say the Packers go 9-8. Jordan Love isn't amazing, but he's good. You see progress, and they're a decent team. They're in the playoff hunt all the way. 8-9, 9-8 kind of team. Does that make you feel any better about Matt LaFleur?
No, but I'm done with him. But
okay.
I also know that the Packers don't really fire people. Like, it's not really how they operate. Look, I think it depends entirely on how Jordan Love looks. Like, that's the only thing that really matters in this Packers season. Like, how does Jordan Love look? And look, depending on who you talk to, and this is when we get into like crazy NFL offseason talk. Depending on who you talk to up there and who you listen to, there are apparently some people in the Packers organization that think he's going to be great. Like, great. And I get it. Everybody says stuff like that in the offseason. He's intriguing. I have no idea what he is. I'm really interested to see what that looks like.
But you're right. I mean, basically, if it looks pretty good, then you have to look at LaFleur and be like, okay, and this guy, and that's, I mean, what's more important in this league? Now granted, I guess if that's the most important thing, I guess fire Vrabel, because he's not himself personally a quarterback developer,
right?
Which again I think is silly. I'm just saying, but I do think if you're a coach who demonstrates that you can bring someone along like that, that means something, right?
John on the text line says, imagine if Dan Campbell and Will Levis got together, biting knees and drinking Mayo coffee at press conferences. I'm not sure the world can handle that.
My.
He also eats bananas with the peel on.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's very, very
strange guy. Hey, good for him, though. Whatever works.
Yeah, and it's cool to be quirky if you're good. So hopefully he's good and not just like a sideshow.
We'll see what happens. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Coming up next, it's time for another Rob rant. 2 in a row this week, so get fired up about that. This one directed directly at Joe Rexrode and Nick Keiser. We'll get into that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The crowd is standing on its feet. It's in the hole! It's in the hole!
Join 1025 The Game for the second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament benefiting Souls for Souls, June 7th at Hermitage Golf Course. Put your team together and come play with athletes, musicians, and other local celebs. See the ball. Support a great cause and have loads of fun. Plus, you'll have the chance to win awesome prizes. Sign up to play, sponsor, or donate at theGameNashville.com/golf.
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks. But there's actually big problems that can come from outdated old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Being value conscious and getting the most for your money is so important these days, and that's why it's more important than ever to shop at Genesis Diamonds, the undisputed value leader.
Part of the education at Genesis Diamonds is we explain to you how we travel the world and purchase our diamonds, how we buy in bulk, we pay cash for our diamonds so we can save every possible percent to save you money on your diamonds.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
There are no middlemen, there are no other wholesalers or dealers, so we cut out all of those extra added markups and pass those savings on to you.
When you combine that unmatched value with a totally no-pressure shopping experience, you know you're in the right place.
Because we do not work on commission, our sole purpose is to make sure you get exactly what you want. There's nothing in it for us personally, whether you spend $1,000 or $100,000.
That's why at Genesis, people often end up spending less than they had budgeted.
Our goal is to purely present you with options so you can choose exactly what you want.
The value you want, the experience you deserve. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
615 Chutney. You might recognize the name. Real Nashvillians know the 615 Chutney food truck used to be the spot. Now they have a full restaurant in Bellevue. Make no mistake, it's a new look with live music, an art gallery, and even a robot server. Yeah, a lot has changed, but it's still the same old chutney. They still serve up authentic and delicious South Indian cuisine to hundreds of satisfied customers every week. And they've become a Nashville staple along the way. Just ask around. Open for dine-in, carry out, and delivery through Grubhub. That's 615 Chutney in Bellevue, a very Indian affair.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Tara, quote, "My doctor wanted me to do saline rinses for my allergies, but I've never been able to successfully use a neti pot. Navage uses suction power, so it's foolproof. There are nights when I'll have particularly bothersome allergies. I'll bust it out, and the results are immediate. It's such a relief. It's become a lifesaver." Unquote. She's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
Sometimes he gets lonely and needs some company.
10 for 17 for 45 yards in his career with 1 interception.
This is one of those years where it's a step back for them.
And that'll create more one-on-one situations and make it easier for him to throw the ball down the field.
It's Stillman and Company.
You've got real talent.
With Jared Stillman, weekdays from 2 to 6 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
I have the radio on. I'm listening to
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day, time for the Rob Rant here on Robby and Rexrode, which I may direct towards Michelle for playing this song coming back with the Chicago Bears, but maybe we'll save that one for later. You can check out our rants every morning at 7:45. The Rob Rant, the Rex Rant, the Red Rant. Every morning at 7:45, one of us will be ranting about something. And look, I hate to do this, but every now and then you have to discuss some of your own. And today's one of that day for me. I've got a rant about Joe Rexrode and Nick Keyser, the reporter.
Let's
over
go.
the weekend. So I'm sitting there on Saturday enjoying myself in the Predators press box at Bridgestone Arena. I'm enjoying a nice game between the Winnipeg Jets and the Nashville Predators. And all of a sudden I look down at my phone and there's a group text thread that all of us sitting in here in this room are in, and a couple other people at the station. And Nick Keyser texts down and says, you know what? Jared had it first. Kevin Byard is gone. And I was like, what? What's he talking about? So then I get on Twitter. I look around. I see what he's referring to. I take one look at it, Joe, and I said, that's not real. That's not a real account. I look at it. I look at the Twitter handle, and it's a Titans Twitter account, but it's got like 2 S's and a Z thrown in there somewhere. I took one look at it. I said, no, man, that's not real. So then I send a text message. This is the group text, and I say, yeah, it's fake, man. It's not real. Not a real account. Don't worry about it. A few minutes later, I see Joe Rexrode on Twitter tweeting about how the Titans have released Kevin Byard, according to their own account, and about how maybe it's more of a rebuild than he thought. And I thought, oh, God, Joe, no. So I thought about like tweeting Joe at the moment or texting Joe at the moment, but then all my Twitter timeline were just people responding to Rexrode talking about how the account was fake. It was just tweet after tweet after tweet about how the account was fake from Rexrode. So I figured that everybody else was doing a pretty good job of letting Rexrode know that he had been duped by a fake account, and then finally he deleted it and entered the group chat on the text message. But Nick Keyser, Joe Rexrode, I just hold both of you in such high regard and in such high esteem that we can't be having you falling for fake accounts out there like you did on Saturday. I expect more from the two of you, and I was disappointed to see it on Saturday.
All right, but in my defense, like I'm actually working on press row at a basketball game, and so it's like, you know, the phone will buzz and you look down, but like you're not. It's like, oh, and then they have this going over here, and then this going over here, and you know, I quote tweeted what I thought was the official Titans account, right? And that's the thing is, like, if you really think about it, like the Titans don't do some big like Kevin Byard release with the like they wouldn't do that. So I mean, look, it's a flimsy excuse, but I'm just saying, like, I think if I wasn't preoccupied, you know, and actually like covering a basketball game, I think I'm usually pretty good at like making sure. But yeah, look, like Keyser is a young person who knows how to use the internet well.
His nickname is the Reporter, for God's sake.
So when he said that in the text thread, that's the first thing I saw. I saw that before I saw the Titans. So then I'm like, as soon as I looked at that, I was like, uh-oh. And I went to Twitter and I saw that. And so those two combined in my brain at that moment were like, oh, that's confirmation. And then I quoted like, Kevin Byard had a fantastic career, everybody. Oh, my goodness.
I sent a text message in the same thread saying it was fake before he ever tweeted.
Well, I know. So that's the thing. So then I'm like, but again, it's like basketball, that bouncing around. So then I leave the text thread, go to Twitter, do that. Yeah. And then people start going off at me. And then I look at the text thread and I'm like, oh God, everybody was immediately saying it was fake. Damn it. So basically, I think that we should both just ran at Nick and not blame me. Can we do that? Can we all just ran at Nick?
Come on, Joe. Okay. Take it back to the basics. Remember, it's being right, not being first.
That's right.
Journalism basics.
Well, no one was being first. I mean, like there was no one was being first here. Like it was I thought the official account. I was just commenting on something that I thought had been out there for a long time.
I gotta say,
this isn't that, but yeah.
I mean, I gotta point it out.
Definitely being wrong though.
It wasn't just you. He got whoever runs this fake account got a few people. I saw a couple of former Titans retweeting it out there. It was good stuff to see there. Look, usually this time of year, whether it's in the NFL or when like NHL free agency comes around or NBA or whatever, like you gotta keep an eye out for like the fake insider pages, like. I mean, there have been 3,000
Schefter,
fake
Schefter
and Rappaport and Elliot Friedman pages over the year. I mean, I feel like the fake team pages are a newer thing that don't really have the same success rate because a lot of people figure it out before you do it. But this guy, whoever this person was that ran the fake Titans Twitter account, he got a few people the other day.
Like, how much joy do you get out of that if you're this person doing this?
Apparently a lot.
I mean, I'm sure it's funny and stuff, and you get a little thrill out of it. But like you put in so much time for just to make people feel stupid for a couple minutes. Hey, man, knock yourself out. I mean, I guess there's worse things you could be doing on the internet. Yeah, it's my bad. It's my bad. I feel bad, and I should feel bad.
Says, does this mean that Nick has been downgraded to Cub reporter? Maybe so. Maddie on the text line says, what I heard was that he trusts Nick more than Robby. Tisk, tisk, Joe. I mean, I kind of read it that way, too. Saw Nick's text and was like, yep, we'll go with that. Didn't pay attention to mine whatsoever.
Believe me, if I saw a text battle between you and Nick and I actually saw what you said, I would, I would have chosen your I just didn't see it, man. I just didn't.
It's all good.
I also feel like it usually, like if you were to pick one person on our show who would get dubbed by a fake account, definitely me. Because I send stuff into you guys, and I'm like,
that's happened, right?
Yeah.
That's happened a couple times. But you sent it to us.
Yes.
So you're fine.
I send it to you guys first because I'm like,
Right.
okay, I think this is true. And then I'm like, I need my advisors to look at this.
I probably bought myself
now
one
you should just send it to Robby and not me.
I probably bought myself one now. Like here pretty soon, I'll get tricked. No question about it.
Yeah, it'll be like Schefter, breaking, Titans trade Derrick Henry to Detroit Lions for 2027 7th-round pick.
Breaking, Aaron Rodgers traded to the Jets for 16 first-round selections. Oh, good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, man. But it was interesting, I would say, about 30 minutes on Saturday. People were running wild with that thing, and then everybody kind of figured out that it was fake and that Kevin Byard had, in fact, not been released by the Tennessee Titans. But as we discussed yesterday, Joe, that story is an interesting one. Obviously, there's something going on there between the Titans and Kevin Byard, and I'm pretty interested to see how this plays out. And in terms of, is there a pay cut? Can you repair maybe some hurt feelings that have taken place there? What ends up happening with Kevin Byard? That part of it still is very intriguing because you're talking about the leader of the team for sure on defense, along with Jeffrey Simmons, and one of the leaders of the team in general.
Yeah, it continues to be a real situation, that's really, I think, important and critical for this team. This team being competitive and good this year, it's a tough leap without Byard, and in particular, given their situation at safety. I'd say they're pretty bolstered everywhere else, but not at all at safety.
Yeah.
And so it would be, you're talking about real questions and having to rebuild that area, but also you're talking about really the heart and soul of this team going back to when Byard, Derrick Henry were both drafted in 2016 draft. So this is a big situation, and hopefully whatever happens with it will be correctly communicated on the internet.
Byron on the text line says, clearly Rexrode has never rickrolled anybody. I did think whoever runs this account missed an opportunity to rickroll underneath it. Never did it.
Wait, what the heck does that mean?
You know what rickrolled is? Never going to give you up,
Rick Astley? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're saying just like
attach a video to it? People do that a lot. They come out with something and get you all kind of like suckered in, and then all of a sudden here pops up Rick Astley singing Never Gonna Give You Up. It's great stuff.
But I don't understand the connection. I mean, I love that song, but why is that connected to people getting duped on the internet?
What I'm saying is people like either they get duped and then they don't figure it out until the Rickroll comes around. It's a thing on the internet.
It's like, ha, gotcha.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. So Rick, as soon as he appears, that confirms that you got hosed.
This is like explaining to my grandparents how to turn off the HDMI channel.
Yeah, guys. By the way, my hotel remote isn't working. Can you guys come help me?
That's the worst.
737-1025. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Mike Herndon from PaulKoharski.com. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans. What's the plan at backup quarterback, and his thoughts on free agency to this point as well. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
They played tough. They came back and they still lost.
And your source for Nashville sports.
Yes, you want to have a fire sale, but who's going to buy those players?
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
Buffalo Sabres and the Nashville Predators in quite similar circumstances after Sunday losses. 7-0 for the Sabres on home ice to the Boston Bruins, and 7-0 for the Nashville Predators to the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden on Sunday. Predators found themselves down 6-0 at the end of one. A little bit longer term situation, but still a 7-0 bottom line for the Bruins over the Sabres. So now they meet tonight, still clinging to some playoff hopes, a chance to make a wild card berth for the Sabres in the Eastern Conference, for the Predators in the West. The Predators lap up this 2-game road trip tonight at KeyBank Center. Our pregame coverage underway at 5, the game at 6 o'clock. From Buffalo, this is Pete Weber reporting on the Fifth Third Bank Nashville Predators Radio Network.
All the best car deals in Smashville start at Newton Nissan. Visit them at Newton Nissan of Gallatin or Newton Nissan South in Shelbyville.
This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Come see Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace live, followed by Stillman & Company at Central Barbecue in Hillsborough Village on Thursday, March 23rd to kick off this week's college hoop action. Come for lunch and dinner and cheer on your favorite teams.
Experience the crisp, clean, smooth, and refreshing pure agave flavor of Dulce Vida Tequila. Dulce Vida Tequila is made using only 100% USDA certified organic blue agave that is harvested from Los Altos, Mexico. Dulce Vida Blanco is additive-free and gluten-free. Try it for yourself. 1.5 ounce of Dulce Vida Blanco Tequila, 4 ounces of sparkling water, and a squeeze of lime for a delicious ranch water cocktail that is less than 100 calories. Dulce Vida Tequila, pure and simple.
Take your first shot at hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/play and make every moment more with FanDuel.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit KESGamblingHelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia. Union Pacific Railroad wants you to join its team. It's an opportunity that comes with great pay and benefits. There are a variety of open roles across its 23-state network, including train crew positions, with hiring and relocation incentives of up to $50,000 in some locations. You can even get a free college education while working. Union Pacific Railroad connects hundreds of communities, hauling goods Americans rely on every day. Get your career on the right track with Union Pacific and apply today at up.jobs/sports. That's up.jobs/sports.
Your Game Center update.
I'm Michelle Knezvik. The Tennessee Titans announced their roster additions on Monday. Aziz Al-Shaer, Daniel Brunskill, Andre Dillard, Luke Gifford, and Arden Key. Arden Key said he's looking forward to being a Titan.
The camaraderie with the teammates, with my teammates, and then getting to a quarterback. I love hitting quarterback. I love disrupting the game. Even if I'm not hitting the quarterback, if I'm in the quarterback face and my guy get a pick, that gets me going. But most of all, it's the team. It's being around those guys each and every day, going out and working and having fun, whether it's on the football field or it's not on the football field. It's just being with that team and that camaraderie, and then you can't beat it.
Memphis Grizzlies defeated the Dallas Mavericks 112-108 without Ja Morant on Monday night. The Grizzlies are sitting at second in the Western Conference as they finish out the regular season. The quarterfinals for the NIT are in Memorial tomorrow. Vanderbilt will face UAB, tip-off at 6. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime.
Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. And we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in our friend Mike Herndon from PaulKoharski.com. Mike, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're awesome. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. Mike, we saw Josh Dobbs signed with the Cleveland Browns yesterday, a one-year deal. So obviously he is not coming back to the Tennessee Titans. How do you view the quarterback room right now and what the plan should be for the Titans to address the backup quarterback position?
Man, I know Malik Willis, he's going to be on the roster. He's going to be in camp, obviously. I think they've got to bring in some sort of competition for him for that backup role. I'm assuming at this point that Tannehill will be back, although I don't know that that's necessarily chiseled in stone. Because I kind of figured they're going to do something with his contract at some point, and since they haven't yet, once that shoe drops, I think that tells us kind of the direction they're going to go at the quarterback spots for starters purposes. But I think there's still some backups out there, backup types that you could grab to compete with Malik Willis. Obviously, I think they would like Malik Willis to win the job, but it certainly shouldn't be gifted to him based off of the performances that he put on the field last year.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And, that's the thing. It's like, at first I was like, does this express some kind of confidence in him potentially? Like that they feel like his trajectory is, where he's going to be a lot better, next fall. But based on the information we have, I have to think that they have to go get somebody. So, just what about just everything else, Mike, right now with what this team has done? Like, how do you view what it says about what they think they can be in 2023?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, it's kind of hard to read them right now because in some sense, I think a lot of these deals make sense in that the way that you, I think, win free agency realistically is not, hey, go splash, $80 million to Mike McGlinchey or Juwan Taylor, basically paying star-level money for a guy who's a mid-tier right tackle, I think, in both those cases. So I think the fact that they've stayed away from those deals is a positive, and I like a lot of the pieces that they brought in. I really loved Arden Key signing Aziz Al-Shire. I'm very in on. I think Dillard is kind of a wait and see for me, as far as how he pans out. But that's also the contract they gave him. Once we saw the report of the guarantees being only $10 million on that deal, I mean that's effectively just a one-year deal at that point with options to continue if things go well. But it tells me, I think, overall that they understand that they're not in a position to kind of be going for it at the moment. I think it's kind of a continuation of, last year we kind of looked at it as, okay, this is kind of a transition year, especially after they made the A.J. Brown trade and they, drafted a bunch of young players and it felt like it was a bit of a transition that they were going through. And I think this is a continuation of that. I mean, this offense is obviously going to look, markedly different this year, even if it is, Henry and Tannehill back, all the pieces around them effectively have changed. So it's very interesting to see kind of how they go from here, especially, how they work the draft, what else they add in free agency, because I can't imagine they're done. I can't wrap my head around the idea that they're going to go into the season with Nick Westbrook-Akine being the only player with more than 14 NFL appearances in the wide receiver room. That just, to me, is there's no way that's going to happen. But we'll kind of see how it plays out from here. But as far as the partial picture that we have right now, I think they're kind of still transitioning, and I don't think they're better right now than they were last year. So that's probably not a very positive outlook, but that's just kind of how I feel like they look on paper, at least.
Mike Herndon with us here on Robby and Rexrode from PaulKoharski.com. So, Mike, with that in mind, with what they've done in free agency to this point, specifically on the offensive line, has that changed the way that you view the number 11 overall pick? Do you think it's changed the way they view it? Do you think a left tackle there still makes a lot of sense for the Titans? How do you view the options that they've created now at number 11 overall?
I mean, I think Dillard maybe reduces some of the urgency as far as, we can't enter the season because we don't have a even viable left tackle on the roster. I think Dillard is a viable left tackle option. Whether he's a good left tackle option, I don't know yet. But I don't think, for me, it necessarily changes the draft strategy. It certainly doesn't take left tackle off the board for me because, as I mentioned, Dillard's deal is effectively a one-year deal. If they try him out there and it doesn't work out, they could be moved on from him next offseason without a huge financial penalty or anything. So their financial commitment to him tells me that this is more of a trial thing than anything, and it certainly wouldn't be if they love Paris Johnson Jr., for example, and they think he's the best player on their board when pick 11 comes up. I think you take him. I think, to me, free agency, and especially the way they've treated free agency, which is all basically short-term, mostly if it's not an actual one-year deal, they are effectively one-year deals, with the exception of Arden Key, who's the only one who has guaranteed money past 2023. The way they've treated that, these are all Band-Aids. These are all plug gaps, guys who can fit. And, hey, if they work out great, you re-sign them or you bring them back for the rest of their contract or whatever. But they could just as easily be gone next year. So I don't think you should take free agency, any of the free agency ads that they've made, and chisel those guys in stone for the next 3 to 4 years, certainly, which is what you're looking for in the draft. The draft is about not necessarily this year, but the next 3 to 4 and finding the stars and the kind of bedrock foundational pieces of the next iteration of this team.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. If Paris Johnson's your top guy, do it, or whoever might be there. Mike, how do you view the Kevin Byard situation?
To me, it's likely, I think you mentioned it yesterday on the show, it's likely a case of course, they went to him to ask him to take less money because they're in a bad cap situation, and he probably told them to kick rocks because he's still playing well, and if you don't want to pay me what I'm currently being paid, then you can cut me. And I think that's probably about how it went down. Whether they actually move him or not, I can't imagine them cutting him outright. Certainly he would have trade value if they, were just desperate to get off of this deal. I don't think he's on a bad contract. It's just been restructured into a bad contract by John Robinson in the, era of going for it in 2020 and 2021, which, by the way, I think we all agreed with at the time. I know retroactively it's easy to say John Robinson's a big idiot for doing that, but they were really close. They were competitive. They felt like they were in a window, and they went for it with Julio Jones, and it didn't work. And we can all, backseat quarterback that thing or retroactively look back and say, bad decision. And it was. Ultimately, you're judged by your results. But it wasn't a bad decision at the time to try to go all in with that group. They're just having to pay for it now, which is painful and hurts, but doesn't really change the decision-making in the moment.
Well, Mike, great stuff as always. Really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning, and we'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. Mike Herndon from PaulKoharski.com, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Josh Dobbs signing with the Cleveland Browns. So what is the plan for the Titans at backup quarterback? We'll get into that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford. Have you ever thought to yourself, buying a car online? That sounds like a nightmare. But fear not, my friends. With Newton FastPass, it's easier than catching a leprechaun. In fact, our system is so user-friendly that even a leprechaun can do it. And let me tell you, those little guys are notoriously bad with technology. Also, with Newton FastPass, you're practically guaranteed to get a great deal. It's like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of overpriced cars. And who doesn't love a good deal? I mean, I'd be willing to bet that even the most skeptical among us would feel lucky to snag a great deal on a new car. That's not all. When you use Newton FastPass, we'll throw in a free leprechaun to help you navigate the process. And trust me, these little guys know their way around a car deal. Just be sure to keep an eye on them because they can be a little mischievous. So what are you waiting for? Visit NewtonFord.com and join the ranks of lucky car buyers. You might even feel like you're living in your own personal pot of gold. And remember, with Newton FastPass, you're always in luck.
Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments so the first payment is not until summer of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Cards issued by Celtic Bank, member FDIC.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message data rates may apply.
Nice run. It's great being back out on the mountain. You sort of disappeared for a while. Everything okay?
Between you and me, it was lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah. The doc told me once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone, and that can make it harder to stay in shape. That's why I started taking Nugenix Total T. It's made a huge difference.
Oh, I've seen that on TV. Is it for real?
For sure. It's the #1 doctor-recommended testosterone booster. It boosts free and total testosterone levels to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. My wife, my boss, my kids. Everyone has noticed a change in me.
Do they still give out complimentary bottles for people to try for themselves?
Yes, just send them a text.
Guys, text HEFTY to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone brand at GNC and Walmart. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back in shape fast, absolutely free. Text HEFTY to 321-321. That's HEFTY to 321-321.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game and on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville.
Hey!
Oh, yeah. And like us on Facebook, too. You're locked into Robby and Rexrode.
Every morning, first thing.
On 1025 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Sound good to me.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by Superbook. We are live from our 1025 The Game studio. Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I got some tickets to give away to see Manchester Orchestra and Jimmy Eat World at Ascend Amphitheater on July 28th. We're going to do this a little bit differently today. I got a trivia question for you. Hit up our text line. Make sure you text it in. Don't call. Text it in to 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Vince Young took over as the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans on October the 1st, 2006. That was the fourth game of the year for the Titans. Who started the previous three games for the Tennessee Titans before Vince Young took over? If you know the answer, hit up our text line, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. If you are the first person to correctly guess the answer, you will win a pair of tickets to see Manchester Orchestra and Jimmy Eat World at Ascend Amphitheater coming up on July 28th, 615-737-1025. Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line and welcome in AG in Nashville. AJ, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I don't see the big deal about the Kevin Byard contract. I mean, why would he get paid more than Derrick Henry, who can hold down an offense almost all on his own? And it's clear if we don't have a good defensive line, Kevin Byard is not going to be very productive. And also, if y'all have time, can y'all comment on the new cornerback signing from, I believe, Tampa Bay? And that's all I got. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for the call, AG. So AG is saying, maybe Kevin Byard getting paid a little bit too much, or at least not as much as Derrick Henry should be paid. What do you make of that one, Joe?
I mean, look, man, this is the NFL. Running backs are disrespected, underpaid, discarded quickly. It's just how it is. I mean, when Derrick Henry got this deal, there were people like, oh, how could you pay a running back a second contract, And I hear you on – we talked yesterday about Byard and, the 2020 season. He had a kind of a rough year, had some rough moments, and that was a team with just absolutely no pass rush. So you're right. I mean, the defensive backs are very much dependent on the guys up front to cut the clock down for them. But I would just disagree overall. I think Kevin Byard has earned that money, is still worth being paid that money. I think when you're you just got to look at the market at each position. And if you're in the top handful of safeties in the game, you should be paid what he's paid. And so, I understand it may be coming to an end soon, but I think he's still worth that money. That's my opinion.
As far as Sean Murphy Bunting is concerned, Jared Stillman concerned after going into Jared's film room yesterday that he plays a little too far off the line of scrimmage. But Logan Ryan putting it out there that he's an interception guy. He says more picks in the playoffs than some got in their career. He's athletic and can play both inside and outside. The Titans got them a playmaker who can do it on the big stage. This was what Logan Ryan had to say. So maybe some conflicting ideas there between Jared Stillman and Logan Ryan.
We're adding up all these segments that I haven't heard from Jared that I'm so fascinated to listen to them. So what we had the one yesterday about like the guarantee of Tennessee or Duke over Tennessee, right?
Correct.
Or whatever. And now we've got the Jared's film room on this guy. It's amazing. It sounds like it was a really yeah. No, I mean, hey, you know what? That keen eye has picked up a real issue here. Everybody's impressed man, and he's like, sorry guys, I'm gonna let me stand back here a little bit, okay? I need to hear this segment. I need it before Jared versus Joe. I need to hear this segment. No, from what I know of him, and I must say I have not done the work of getting in the hashtag film room on his time with the Bucs. He's I like the signing. I think that they needed another corner. You're basically discounting Farley as a factor. You know that Fulton has had injury issues. You know that Molden has had injury issues. I still think McCreary overall had an encouraging rookie season. Wasn't perfect, but now you have a fourth corner in there, so you have some depth, proven depth. And although they've been very good at going out and finding the bargain bin corner who can come in and play pretty well for them, I think it's good to, if you can make it work, to have, four guys. And again, this was kind of supposed to be the situation with Farley as the fourth guy going into last season after they drafted McCreary, but now this becomes that fourth guy. And so there's some versatility, and I think it's like, I don't necessarily think, this guy, you make a few big plays in big moments. Sometimes that can sort of that can sort of skew what you are overall as a player. But it seems to me that he's been solid.
Let's go back to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Adam in Portland. Adam, good morning. Thanks for calling in.
Robbie, what's up? Hey, did you come up with that trivia question?
Sure did.
That's did you follow the Titans that year at all?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I'm not going to get the answer, when, unless they've already gotten it. But
they've already gotten it. You can give it away. Kerry Collins is the answer. Kyle won on the text line. Congratulations,
exactly.
Kyle.
And the reason they had to sign Kerry is because Billy Bullock sucked so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Like coming out of camp, and he was supposed to be the answer, Mr. 400 yards a game, like the last 3 or 4 games. Then he comes to camp and he can't even throw the football. Like I think he had the yips, man. It was something wild, but. No, but hey, that's an excellent question. That's what I was going to tell you. Like being able to incorporate it in today's conversation, backup quarterback is important, and the fact that the Titans could have had Josh Dobbs, who was, I would say, a capable player for them in 2 games they had him, probably at veteran minimum, and chose not to do that. It's boneheaded, man. Like obviously, you got to keep the rookie at this point. I just make him the quarterback. I wouldn't look at doing anything else because you could have got Dobbs for nothing. And it's a player that we would have loved, and you would have got cheap, and he's smart and all these things. But I just think it's stupid that you couldn't have got him for what Cleveland got him for. It sucks.
Hey, thanks for the call, Adam. And look, Adam's opinion on that is not he's not alone there. There are a lot of Titans fans kind of scratching their head like, all right, well, why is Joshua Dobbs not here? Why is he not the backup next year, given what he did at the end of last season? Joe, what do you make of Dobbs heading to Cleveland and now the hole that the Titans have at backup quarterback, or I guess the hole that I assume they have? Maybe they don't think they have one.
Today you made me feel bad about my getting duped by a fake tweet and by Nick Keiser on the text thread. I would like all Titans fans who suggested Joshua Dobbs would be the starter next year to feel bad for a moment. Just feel bad. Feel bad.
Feel shame.
And then we could feel some shame, and then we can all move on. That was never obviously a real thing. As we said, we were right about that one. I'm a little surprised though, because I thought I'm with Adam. Like inexpensive. I'm tremendously impressed by what he did coming in here. Remember, it's not just that he came in and immediately, jumped over, granted, a rookie who was struggling, but came in, gave you a chance to win a couple football games. He did it on a terrible offense. You know? It's not just like, oh, man, I don't know if Dobbs can handle this. Plug him into this, 2020 Titans offense that's really good. Wow, good job, man. No, he goes into an offense that can't block and can't get open, and he's still doing enough and finding enough plays out there to give you a chance to win those games. And obviously, he made the big mistake at the end, but I was really impressed with that. And it just also goes back to Dobbs in Knoxville and wherever he is, he's a positive force in the building. So all of that to me added up to it just totally makes sense. And we talked about it before. Maybe Dobbs and Willis, compete for QB2. Maybe Willis takes huge gains, and then it's like, okay, actually he's ready for it. There's got to be somebody else coming in here, but I guess it's just now it's like, are they trying to actually go get one of the higher, more like the fringe starter type guys, or which obviously is more expensive, or a little bit cheaper and sort of more like there would be a competition with Willis? If that's the case, they could be in a tough spot at QB2 next year.
Yeah, they really could be. And look, I think to Adam's point, if Malik Willis wins the job, then that's great. But I think approaching that as if it's just his and that it's his backup quarterback job and that there's no real veteran coming in to compete, I think would be a big mistake by the Titans. There's still guys out there. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater is available. You've got Carson Wentz available. I mean, you've got Blaine Gabbert available. I mean, there are guys that have been backup quarterbacks or in some cases starting quarterbacks in the NFL that you could go out and get if you want to if you're the Titans. So it's not necessarily means that they're just handing the keys over to Malik Willis to be the backup, but I am very interested to see how they handle that as they move forward here. Make sure you come see Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace live, followed by Stillman & Company at Central Barbecue in Hillsboro Village this Thursday, March 23rd. Come by for some great Memphis-style barbecue and catch your favorite teams compete in the tournament. Again, that's Central Barbecue in Hillsboro Village coming up this Thursday. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Predators General Manager David Poyle. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
1, 2, 3. What other changes are ahead for the Titans?
Could Rand Carthon seriously be looking to move Derrick Henry?
Are they contemplating a rebuild?
1, 2, 3. Could the two-tone blue add in free agency?
There has to be some sacrifice on the other side of the ball. Could be.
You telling people I can't spend money in free agency? Where's the money?
1, 2, 3. Keep Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk. Talking Titans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's the Electronic Express famous half price fair. This week only, save up to 50% in every department, including all 4K TVs, appliances, laptops and tablets, speakers, and more. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The famous half price fair. It's first come, first served. Sale ends Saturday at 9 p.m. Hurry into any of our convenient locations. Plus, get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express famous half price fair ends this Saturday at 9 p.m.
Social Furniture's Spring Home Makeover Sales event is going on now with the latest styles and colors in stock, ready for immediate delivery and setup. If you don't need a fancy schmancy showroom or the stress of a high-pressure sales team, but you don't want to pay high-quality prices, come to Social Furniture. All top-quality furniture and mattresses are on sale now. Don't miss this Extreme Home Makeover Sales event that's going on now at Social Furniture.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the way I'm treated.
That's Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops and go farther and faster with the new G430 woods and irons from Ping. The Ping G430 woods introduce the next generation of speed with new face technology for longer and more accurate shots. The new Ping G430 irons are designed with pure flex technology for faster ball speed and more distance. Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit on the new Ping G430 woods and irons today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Spilled your milkshake? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker. And each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading Ordinary brand. So you can get back to your milkshake.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, and they're like, it's better than yours.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
When you want live and local.
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You could be a contender in the AFC again.
They've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Tuesday morning. And as we do every Tuesday morning at 8:30, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. And welcome in Predators General Manager David Poyle, brought to you by Colma Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. David, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good, guys. Is everybody all right in Nashville today?
Doing well. Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. David, obviously the injury bug starting to creep up for your team. I mean, Yossi goes down in the middle of the Winnipeg game the other day. We know about Forsberg and McDonough and Carrier and kind of the laundry list of injuries you guys are dealing with at the moment. Where do things stand on that front, and what did you made of the last couple of times out for you guys against Winnipeg and obviously a tough one in New York the other night?
Well, as far as the injuries, it's getting to the point where it's almost unbelievable. I mean, I think we got 6 guys out now, and that goes back to the trade deadline where we traded away four players and we only got 1 player back. So my calculation, that's like nine different players. So it's really unfortunate. I thought, in the road trip we had played really, really well. Lots of very close games, but we were on the winning end. The Winnipeg game was really a hard-fought game. I mean, it was close. We just offensively we're just a little bit challenged right now with all of our injuries. But I thought our guys played really, really well in a very tight game, and unfortunately we lost that game in overtime. The Rangers game was a really the toughest game of the year. I don't want to use the word a little bit predictable in terms of a letdown, but they got six straight goals and 6 shots. I've never been part of that, so that was really an unfortunate situation. But I think I think we'll really rebound tonight against Buffalo. I mean, in the way I'm looking at this is, from a very optimistic standpoint, if we can play well tonight, then we have 2 games against Seattle. I mean, if you look at that, three wins for us and 2 losses at least for Seattle, we could be within 3 points of the playoffs with Seattle, and possibly the same with Winnipeg. So I know it's very difficult, and I know I'm being very optimistic with the sort of the short lineup that we have right now. But the guys are fighting hard, and that's all we can ask. As far as lineup changes, people coming back, Ryan McDonough is on the trip in Buffalo, and he's going to morning skate with us shortly. And there's a chance that he could play tonight, and that would be fantastic. But that's the only change that we have in our lineup. Our captain Roman Josi remains at home in Nashville, and he's out day to day at the moment.
David, are you concerned from a long-term perspective with Philip Forsberg's injury?
I mean, I think when you're dealing with these situations, you're always a little bit worried. But I mean, I think Philip is really close. I mean, he's been very active in terms of practicing with our skating and skills coach, and the doctors in terms of the things that he does in testing wise. So I think it's we want to be, and he wants to be very cautious. But I would say no to that. I think he will. I'm pretty confident that he will be back before the end of the year. I hope it's sooner than that. But I don't think that this will be a long range situation any more than it has been, which is unfortunate for us, and of course most importantly unfortunate for Philip.
David, you mentioned the Winnipeg game. Like you said, really, really hard-fought game for lots of your younger guys, probably the first time they've been in a situation quite like that at the NHL level. How valuable for guys like Cody Glass and Luke Evangelista and Philip Tomasino and some of these young guys, how valuable are high-pressure games like that for them, and how valuable could those be coming up down the stretch here?
Well, that's exactly what it is right now. I mean, we're trying to live in the moment and keep pressing on and try to work our way to get that last playoff spot. But the bigger picture, of course, with all the trades we made at the trading deadline, is what does the future look like for the Predators, and who do we have in our system that's going to replace players that we traded away. And I think you've named some names like Evangelistas look really good. The puck comes to him. He's certainly an offensive player. We know he's got to get bigger and stronger to be able to have that durability to be successful in the National Hockey League. Phil Tomasino was a regular question pretty much on the show every week in terms of him not making our team and when were we going to give him a chance. Now he's, based on his play and the trades we've made, he's basically playing first line, first power play, and he looks like a real good player. You got Tommy Novak that started the season in Milwaukee, and he's played terrific for us. So securing one of our top 3 center positions. Then you've got Cody Glass, as you mentioned, a player that was kind of I would say a little bit in and out of our lineup at the beginning of the season, and now he's worked his way up to the top line, and you certainly see him. His future at the moment probably playing with a Forsberg or a Duchesne and being our top center. And then we have a Parsonen who is unfortunately been out now for the last 3 or 4 weeks that was playing terrific, and he's going to fit in there somewhere. So those are some names in terms of what happens when you make the changes that we did at the trading deadline. Trading away players like Michael Granlund, for example. But I think what we found out here that we do have players that can replace these guys, and I think the future looks pretty good for the Predators in that regard.
Yeah, I'm kind of sad I don't get to keep asking about Tomasino every week, actually, now that you mention it.
Well, I just said we're just going to have to call him up. I mean, this was getting ridiculous talking about that every week. So you were right. We should have called him up earlier.
Well, I did want to ask you about Novak, David. Would you say that he is maybe accelerated beyond expectation this year?
I would say right, or maybe we weren't looking at it correctly. I mean, that's one of the things when you set your lineup and you give the veteran players probably get more opportunities to play well or even to have off games, if you will, and you kind of stick with them. Contracts certainly dictate a fair bit of what we do, and Novak's been a good player in Milwaukee, but for whatever reason we just didn't give him the chance that we've now presently given him, and he's, to me, he certainly has exceeded expectations. His game is a little bit quicker than I thought it was. His ability to just hang on to the puck to make plays, his scoring. I mean, he seems like he's a pass first player, but now all of a sudden he's starting to score goals and shoot the puck, and that's something basically he never did as a younger player in college, and even in Milwaukee, he was always a first pass guy. So. A little bit of a late bloomer, but I'm certainly glad that we gave him a chance because he certainly deserves to be here right now.
Predators General Manager David Poile with us here on Robby and Rexrode. And David, I want to circle back to Cody Glass. Obviously, as you laid out there, it's been an eventful year from him, and now he's getting a lot of playing time and a lot of opportunity. Have you seen enough from him to convince you that he can be a top 2 centerman for you long term moving forward here?
I think we're getting closer to that. I mean, in case he's listening to the broadcast, I don't want him to think that he's got it made. I mean, again, as you see just in his progress as a first pick, I mean, he's really taken baby steps versus these giant leaps, and he's almost like a step forward, takes sometimes a step backwards, and takes 2 steps forward. It's a little bit of slow progress with him, but to me, when he gets it, he gets it, and I'm looking for a good off season from Cody. Again, a little bit more strength to be able to play the big minutes. If you're going to be a top 2-line player, you got to play against the top 2 lines of the other team. You got to play harder minutes. You got to be bigger, stronger. You got to work on some individual things like his face-off. So I feel good about it. I don't want to completely say that it's a slam dunk, but he's trending in the right direction, and I like his attitude. I like his. He seems to have a purpose of where he believes he can go. So I'm betting that Cody will be one of our top 2 centers. Yes.
You guys, stick with Dante Fabro, and I know it's been up and down for him since that really good debut back in the in the playoffs in 2019. David, where is he in your mind, and what does he need to do to get better?
Well, I think a similar situation to with Cody. I mean, Dante came onto the scene was very, very good, and again, I totally agree with you, and I hope he would also that this was not a good year for him. Since he signed the contract, I would say he's probably played as good as he's played all year long. Whether that was a factor, I don't know. But to me, it's going to start in the off season for him again. I mean, we have to challenge him to be quicker, stronger, a little bit better shape. Work on his shot a little bit. Bring another dimension. How is he going to grow his game? So I think that this off season is going to be huge to Fabro in terms of where he fits into the Predators not only next year, but is he going to be a long-term player for us? Because I would say that his progress it probably stalled a little bit this year. So I'm glad that we signed him. I'm glad to see that his play, in my opinion, is picked up since he signed the contract, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season and what he does in the off season. If I was going to, bet on somebody, I'd hope that next year is going to be his best year ever.
David, last thing for you here. You guys brought Joakim Kemmel over from Finland, who obviously was your first-round pick last year. He's only played in a couple of games in Milwaukee to this point, but how valuable is it for you guys to get a look at him over at the American Hockey League level to end this season?
Just another, young player, first pick, a guy that's got some really good offensive talents. I mean, as in his first 2 games, I think my reports that I got from the guys down there was that he played well. He played a little bit more gritty than we thought. He seems to be able to play at the pace of the league. So this is one of the benefits of his season ending over there, and us getting a little bit of a free look for him. So to play the rest of the year. In Milwaukee, they should make the playoffs down there, so we should get some more action there. He'll come to our development camp. And just like we talked about Tomasino and Evangelista, just throw him into the mix for the future. Logically, he should play a full year in Milwaukee to see how he does. But again, we're open-minded to any of these younger guys with the trades that we made at the trading deadline. We're certainly feel like we're probably going to be one of the younger teams in the league next year. And Kemmel's an offensive player. He's probably right there with Evangelista and Tomasino in terms of his potential and his ability to score and probably play on our top 2 lines. So exciting that we're getting these young players into Milwaukee and giving them an opportunity this season.
Well, David, thanks so much for taking time to be with us this morning. Good luck tonight coming up against Buffalo, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Preds General Manager David Poyle, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode, brought to you by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer. Coming up next, it's time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode. Be the first caller, 615-737-1025. If you guess a goal scorer for the Predators tonight, you'll win a pair of tickets to a future Nashville Predators home game. We'll do that next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like waterfront property, more like a mosquito farm. Pride of ownership, they're really proud of the DIY job they did. Seller says sell. Really? I thought they just put it on the market for fun. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says don't let this one pass you by, it's probably on wheels. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Ever tried to shop for a diamond online? They all look great on the computer screen, but the fact is, most reputable jewelers like Genesis Diamonds wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
These are the diamonds that nobody wants to buy. We call them the B-quality diamonds.
That's Genesis owner Boaz Ramon, who says that even diamonds with the same grade and specs on paper can be very different when you see them up close in person, especially the ones from online dealers.
Those diamonds gonna look always cloudy or dirty. It's like you're wearing your glasses and there is fingerprints all over the glass. You just don't understand, or nobody told you that the material that this diamond was cut from was not the best material.
Why risk it? At Genesis Diamonds, they screen thousands of diamonds and only choose the best of the best for maximum brilliance, sparkle, and luster. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
I'm Boaz Ramon, and my accent is always on value.
Sports and leadership go hand in hand. In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor. 615 Chutney. You might recognize the name. Real Nashvillians know the 615 Chutney food truck used to be the spot. Now they have a full restaurant in Bellevue. Make no mistake, it's a new look with live music, an art gallery, and even a robot server. Yeah, a lot has changed, but it's still the same old chutney. They still serve up authentic and delicious South Indian cuisine to hundreds of satisfied customers every week. And they've become a Nashville staple along the way. Just ask around. Open for dine-in, carry out, and delivery through Grubhub. That's 615 Chutney in Bellevue, a very Indian affair.
We do screen printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do embroidery.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do large format printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do promotional goods.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do graphic design.
Music City Screen Prints.
mcscreenprints.com. That's mcscreenprints with an S.com. 615-866-6010.
You think it, we print it.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode.
It's part of this nutritious breakfast.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's time for Preds Picks to click.
And a shot at the score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
Little give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Preds tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
And it is that time of the day, time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. Preds back in action tonight, taking on the Buffalo Sabres on the road before coming back home on Thursday with a back-to-back set, Thursday against Seattle and then Saturday against Seattle as well at Bridgestone Arena. The standings in Preds Pick to Click are as follows. I'm still in first with 15 correct answers. The listeners in second with 12. Joe Rexrode with 11 correct answers, and Michelle Knezevic with 7. So the competition pretty closely drawing to a close. The regular season end is just a few weeks away, so we'll see what happens on that front. Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Mark. Mark, thanks for calling in. Who is your pick to click for the Nashville Predators?
Man, it's pretty much a crapshoot now, but I got to go with Novak tonight.
Going with Tommy Novak. Mark, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All righty, so Novak is off the board. As he described, it is a little bit of a crapshoot right now with the way the lineup is constructed for the Nashville Predators. I am up next to take my shot at that thing. You know what? I'm going to go with Luke Evangelista. I will go with Luke Evangelista to score a goal tonight against Buffalo. So Novak, Evangelista off the board. Joe Rexrode, your pick to click for the Nashville Predators.
Interesting. Okay, so everybody's going with the young guns. I can't go with Matt Duchene. I'd like to.
He hasn't been very good lately.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot there. Boy, this gets
difficult.
This gets dicey. How about Yakov Trenin?
Ooh. I like that.
How about a little Trenin?
Going with Yakov Trenin. So Novak, Evangelista, and Trenin off the board. Michelle Knezevic, your pick to click for the Nashville Predators.
This might be our most random trio of people we pick.
Could be.
I'm going to pick Colton Sissons.
Ooh, look at there.
So
Colton
I don't really know where to go with this one, but Colton Sissons tonight.
Novak, Evangelista, Trennan, and Sissons. The picks to click here on the program. I don't have to look. I can guarantee that's the first time that those four have been selected together. Joe Rexrode.
Yes, no doubt. I think that's a pretty good – this Preds pick to click is a pretty good representation of, where this team is right now.
There's some challenges afoot for the Nashville Predators right now. Now, some good news. David Poile did say that Ryan McDonough will be at the morning skate, and there's at least a chance that he could play tonight against Buffalo. So let me tell you, that defense core could use all the help they could get right now. If you get Ryan McDonough back in there, that would be nice for the Predators.
Yeah, absolutely. They need that badly. And it sounds like, I don't know, how did you take? I mean, I asked about Forsberg, and so I guess he's still skating. To me, it's like, gosh, it's been a while now.
It's been a while.
But what about? Yeah, what about Yossi? What's your feeling on that after talking to David?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the Forsberg part of it, I've had a couple of conversations where I don't think it'll be too much longer before he's back. So, but the thing about look, they've not said this, but we know what the injury is with Forsberg. Like it's a concussion. So when you start dealing with stuff like that, like you never know what can happen. Like you can have setbacks, and all of a sudden you're 2 months out again. Like you don't know what happens with those things. The Yossi thing is, I don't know. Like it was interesting to me that he finished the period the other night, and then he never came back out there. And now, I mean, he wasn't even on the trip in New York. So that to me is concerning if you're the Predators. Obviously, you got to err on the side of caution with him. Hopefully he can be back soon because, I mean, look, obviously Yossi's a big loss defensively. Right now, like they need him offensively more than anything else. Like they just don't have anything offensively really going right now because of the way their lineup is constructed and the young guys that they have. So, like Yossi offensively, I think is missed more than he is defensively right now.
Yeah, no, any kind of offense that could be manufactured would be very helpful for sure. As I speak into this microphone like Rich Mahogany, which apparently it sounds just delicious on the air, let me just say, once again, bleep the bed.
We're running out of time. Running out of time to do that for Bedard. But, hey, that schedule's getting real tough. So we'll see what happens tonight. Preds taking on the Sabres tonight on the road, and they'll be back this week for the Eeli Tolvanen Revenge Tour coming through Nashville. We'll see what that looks like. I'm sure Eeli Tolvanen will be brought up a couple of times over on our show the next few days, be my guess.
I bet he will.
I bet you that he will. That's going to do it for us today here on Robby and Rexrode. Joe Rexrode will be live from New York in anticipation for the Vols taking on FAU tomorrow, so we'll get into that. Paul Koharski joining the show tomorrow as well, so looking forward to all that. Chase and Michelle coming up next. This is 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the